Okay, welcome to the third video for lesson 6.2. So I'm going to go over these fairly quickly because these are supposed to be the try it problems. So you should have already tried them on your own. Okay, so like I said, I will talk through them, but I'm going to go through them fairly quickly because these should just be checking your answers, making sure you did the process correctly. Okay. So again, I start this by selecting my equation that only has one variable alone, and that equation is y equals 6. So that's the first equation I'll be using. That's the equation that goes on this side of my t-chart. So I'm going to put y equals 6. Okay. And since I know that y equals 6, I can just plug in a 6 for my y already, but because it tells me my y is 6. Okay. So on the other side now is where we're going to do our substitution. So I have x plus 2, and now is my y, but since I have a value for y, I'm going to plug in my value that I have for y instead of just y. So in parentheses, I'm going to plug in a 6 because that is what my y equals, and we're going to set that equal to 10. Okay, so now we're going to solve this side to find out what my x is. Okay, so 2 times 6 is 12. So I have x plus 12 equals 10. Now all I need to do to get my x by itself is to move this plus 12 because there's nothing out in front of it. I move this plus 12 by doing the opposite, which is a minus 12. So I'm going to minus 12 on both sides of the equal sign. 12 minus 12 is 0. So I get x equals 10 minus 12 is negative 2. Okay. So then I plug in a negative 2 for my x coordinate in my solution. Okay. So we started by just substituting. We already knew what y is, so all we had to do was find x for that one. Okay. Let's move on to try it number 2. So if you see, this one's a little bit tricky because both of these equations, right, both of these equations already have one equation by itself. So we have y equals and y equals. Okay, so we have y equals 3x plus 2 and y equals negative 2x minus 8. So if these are both what y equals, if y is the same as both of these, what we want to do is actually set these equal to each other. Okay, so we want to set these two equations equal to each other because they're both what y is equal to. Okay, so to find x, what we're going to do, first we're going to do this side. So we'll do 3x plus 2, and we'll set that equal to negative 2x minus 8. Okay, and we'll solve this to find what our x is. All right, so as always, I want to try to get all of my x's onto one side, and I see that there's a negative 2x here, and I know that if I move it, it'll become a positive. So I want to get rid of my negative, so I'm going to move it by making it a positive 2x. So I'm going to add 2x on both sides. Okay, 3x plus 2x is 5x, so I have 5x plus 2 equals, so those cancel out, negative 8. So first I want to move this plus 2 because it's not attached to my 5. The opposite of a plus 2 would be a minus 2. So I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. 2 minus 2 is 0. So I get 5x equals negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. Okay. And now that that 5 is out in front of my x, I know it's multiplying it. Opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. Okay. X equals negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. Okay, so I'm going to label x and y so I can plug in a negative 2 for my x. Okay, now I'm going to use this negative 2, plug it into my top equation for x to find out what my y value is. Okay, so I'm going to do y equals 3, and instead of x, I'm going to plug in what I got for my x value. So I'm going to have 3 times negative 2 in parentheses. I just sub that in for my x because my x value is negative 2. Okay, then I do plus 2. So let's simplify now. We will do 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So I get y equals negative 6 plus 2. Negative 6 plus 2, y equals negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. So I get y equals negative 4. Okay. So your two solutions should be negative 2 comma 6 and negative 2 comma negative 4. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for a homework help video for worksheet 6.2.